What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and this is Supergirl Season 5, Episode 1, Event Horizon. So now we're back to this crap. Yeah, last season admittedly did get better, but it was really just the Lex Luthor part that were better. Everything overall... Well, actually, no, the Lex Luthor and, what's his name? The guy that was Jean Jean's friend. He came in, just super dark character. Loved having him on the show. Because everything's also lighthearted and cheery, and he just comes in and he's so gritty and grim, and I'm just like, this is actually kind of fun to have on this show. But yeah, I mean, overall, it still wasn't good. There's still so much pandering. There's still so much, oh, romance, and who's gonna end up with who, and oh my gosh, it just, oh, ow. But yeah, so I mean, this season pretty much picks up in the same place. We're talking so much about everybody in a relationship, and pretty much everybody is, except for Kara. I guess Jimmy doesn't... I don't think Jimmy and Lena are really a thing anymore, but you've got Alex and Jimmy's sister, I think. I think it's his sister. I remember they're related somehow. I'm pretty sure sister and brother is how it is, not cousins. Whatever. But you've got those two, and they're constantly together, and then you've got Nia and Brainy, and they're constantly together. Just like, God, we spent so much time on this, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Like, at the end of this episode, you finally see, oh, well, Nia's concerned because Brainy's not really acting like a boyfriend, and then he reveals, oh, he's worried he's going to hurt her, and oh, no, what are they going to do? And then they make up at the end. It's just like, okay, cool. Alex and... I honestly don't even know her name, because that's how little she matters to me at this point, because I just don't care. I don't care about Alex's love life. I never have, because ever since they turned her into a lesbian in season 2, and she's just like, I think I like girls, all of a sudden her character's just been complete crap, because that's all they focus on for her. She never really gets anything else aside from, who's the next girl she's gonna be with, guys? So, yeah, I don't really care about them, and they didn't do anything in this episode except just show that they're together. I guess it is kind of important that Jimmy's sister is working for the lady that, she now runs Catco, and she's working with Lena. I guess part of Lena's master plan to, like, hit back at Kara for everything that she did, which is weird to me because, Supergirl shares her identity with her finally. And it seems like she forgives her, but in reality she didn't forgive her because I guess, I don't know, she decided that just giving everybody her secret identity was not enough, so now she's going to hurt her in another way, I guess. I don't know. I was curious to see what they were going to do with this storyline whenever Lex revealed to Lena about Kara's secret identity. I really was super curious. How is that going to be handled? Is she going to just sort of lash out at her? Is she not going to talk to her? But in reality, essentially, it turns her into a villain. I know she said, oh, I'm not a villain, but she's essentially a villain now. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to take down Kara to the point where she's running simulations in her head of her punching the crap out of her because she's obviously very pissed and she wants to kill her. I don't know if she wants to kill her, but at least she wants to hurt her very severely, which means she's a villain. So, I don't know, it does make it less interesting to me, because at this point now, it's very shallow. Yes, I get the fact you feel like she betrayed you because she didn't tell you this sooner and all of that, blah, blah, blah. I get it. It hurts. It sucks. But going to the lengths that she's going to get back at her, it's kind of, I don't know, it's very petty. It's like, you know what? You didn't tell me your secret identity because you thought that I was going to feel hurt by it. So I'm going to hurt you by essentially crafting this big, huge master plan to tear you down the way that I feel torn down. And that's just kind of, I don't know, you hit me, I'm going to hit you right back. It's childhood philosophy. It's some kid smacks you on the playground. Well, I'm gonna go smack him back. Like that's sort of the mindset that she has right now, and that's just so much less interesting to me. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what they decide to do with it. But right now, not really interested in that story. And it's a shame because there was actually a good moment with that story in this episode. Whenever Kara finally tells her, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Melissa Benoist as an actress is fantastic. Like, she's probably the one thing about the show that throughout all the seasons She, as an actress, has been very good. Unfortunately, the story and the lines that they're giving her often don't really get to show that. But in the scene where she's telling Lena, it was very emotional, and the emotion on her face seems so real. And even Lena's response when she got up on stage. I mean, I've not really seen the girl that plays Lena in much. I only saw her in Jurassic World and maybe a couple other appearances here and there, but I've not seen her in much. But when she took the stand and gave the introduction for Kara, also very well delivered. So, couple of great scenes there, but then in the end, what does it lead to? Well, Lena still hates Kara, she still hates her for what she did, and she's still going to try to hurt her in some conniving, twisted way because of the fact that she didn't tell her secret identity. That's what it boils down to. So those scenes don't really have as much impact now when you realize, okay, so from Lena's side it was fake, and from Kara's side she basically spilled her guts, and it didn't move Lena's opinion of her at all. So what was the point of it? And then on top of that, we see Jean's brother. I don't know. First he's a little girl, and then somehow changes a toy-looking dinosaur into a real dinosaur, and then steals this pod from Superman to create a portal to the what's it called, the Phantom Zone, and let out this girl named Midnight, who apparently her power is she can destroy anything, and she doesn't destroy a single thing. So she creates a black hole at some point, which Jean gets sucked up into, and then Supergirl saves him. And then he finally finds out at the end that it's his brother that he doesn't realize he had. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from the story. I don't know what to expect as far as John's brother. There are a couple theories in my mind. One is because obviously Martians, they have the mind manipulation. Maybe for some reason John's father erased that memory from his head about his brother. It's a possibility. The other thing is there's a chance that maybe this is his brother from another dimension, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, overall, it's not that interesting at the moment. It feels very rushed and put together. The scenes just cut so quickly and everything happens so quickly that it doesn't really feel connected. It doesn't feel fluid. It doesn't feel smooth. It's just kind of jump cut here, jump cut there, jump cut here, jump cut there. And I don't know, it's hard to get really connected to the story at that point. And honestly, a lot of these CW shows tend to do that at the beginning. They don't really give you a whole lot, and it feels like they're sort of jumping from story to story to start off, and then eventually things flow together a bit smoother, but I don't know. Obviously, this is not a show that I've enjoyed in the past, and so it's not one I'm particularly looking forward to, but maybe they'll have some interesting things. Like I said, Lex and Martian Manhunter's friend, I may have to look him up later just to remember his name, but those two things from last season, they were interjected into a story that really didn't grasp me and gave me something to latch onto, something to enjoy. So maybe they'll have something like that this season that I can actually watch and be entertained by. But from this first episode, I'm not seeing it. So that's it for me, though. On to the next episode. See you there. And now, episode 2, Stranger Beside Me. Just kill me. Please. Somebody find me. Put me out of my misery. God. So, let's talk about it. Because, talk about the one interesting thing in this episode. Because everything else is cliche, it's boring, it's stupid, it's dumb. Makes me want to blow my brains out. The one interesting thing in this episode, though, is this story with Lena, because even though I think her motivation for what she's doing is really dumb, it is pretty dark and twisted when you really think about it. I mean, what she did to Eve at the end of this episode, it is, something about that sort of dark, twisted nature in a show that's normally so, oh, happy-go-lucky, and oh, she's so happy, ooh. Whenever they inject a little bit of dark stuff into the show, it's really enjoyable for some reason. Maybe I'm a little twisted in the head. Maybe that's why I enjoy it. But yeah, just, first of all, basically mapping her brain to find out, okay, what are the parts of her brain that are actually honest and trustworthy, so that way her AI can infiltrate her brain and essentially take her over. And that's terrifying, just the thought of anything entering inside of you and controlling your brain. Very terrifying. And honestly, I didn't talk about this much in the first episode, but this whole idea of like you just put the contacts in, and you all of a sudden virtual reality right in front of you. It's kind of funny because I don't really know if they're showing it in a good or a bad light. They seem to be doing both, because like on the one hand, it's making everybody's lives easier. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, cool. They're using it to help Jean because he's dealing with this, brain thing, whatever that's going on with him and his brother. So it's like, okay, so it's a good thing. But then, they're making the whole point of like, oh, everybody's just so wrapped up in their phones, they don't care about politics. I'm just like, how ironic. Honestly, everything to do with Catco since pretty much season 1 has been very ironic, because the types of media that people that will enjoy this show and enjoy the pandering that the show does, the types of media that those people watch are exactly like the types of media that Andrea is trying to do, where it's bought out. It's only showing stuff to get clicks and likes and, ooh, look at this extravagant headline that's really about nothing, but oh, it made you click on it so you could read it. That's the type of media that people who enjoy the show are probably going to be looking at and watching. So the fact that they're showing it in a bad light in the show is kind of like hilarious and hypocritical, but anyway, that's just my evil conservative point of view. Ooh, how dare I? But whatever. Moving on from that though, just the weird tones between this technology is good for us and it's what we need to help really understand the human brain better. It's to help ease our daily life. All of that is like, it's thrown in there, and then the people heading it up are really evil. Andrea, she's obviously not a good person, and she's the one that's, I guess, invented this technology and is selling it. Lena wants to invent this technology and use it, and she's also using this AI to help control somebody else. So it's like, it's very interesting to see, like, the technology is good, but the technology is bad, but the technology is good, but the technology is bad. Like, it's really hard to get a tone of what they want to show us. So I will say that's been a little weird. But yeah, no, just what Lena's doing to Eve in this episode. We didn't really hear anything more about this group that Eve's a part of that we saw at the end of last season. So she mentioned them barely, but we didn't really find any information out about them. So don't know if they're going to be involved at all this season or if they're just going to be tossed to the side. I really hope not, but who knows? The show has done stupider stuff. But yeah, so that's the only interesting thing. Everything else, crap. I'll start with the most crap thing in this episode, and that is, of course, Alex and... Totally not going to look up the name of Jimmy's sister, because obviously I know her name is Kelly. Of course it's Kelly. Wow, this episode got rated very lowly. Huh. Interesting. Not that it should have been rated highly, but just Supergirl is typically a show that I think it deserves less than a 5, and most of the time it's like 8 or 9 or, oh, it's so good. So to see it get rated a 6 is kind of like, wow, that's pretty low for this show. But yeah, so the whole story between her and Kelly, though, so dumb. So dumb, because they're doing the cliche storyline of, oh, we've been dating and I don't know anything about her, which, don't you normally tell the person you're dating your food allergies pretty much from the first date? Like, if there's something that could kill you and you're allergic to it and you have an EpiPen and you may not be able to inject yourself, so they need to know that they should inject you, that's something you let them know right away, right? And I don't know exactly how long they've been dating. It's been at least a couple weeks, probably more than a month, and she's just now finding out about the food allergies. That's a little too long. Because how allergic is she? Is she so allergic that being in the same room as somebody eating it could cause her to break out? Or is it just if she eats it, that's when it's bad? Either way, it's something Alex should probably know, so we don't end up with stupid, boring, cliched conflicts like started in this episode where Alex like, oh my god, I could have killed her. so dumb. And then the whole resolution was just even dumber. So, first of all, Jean John's brother, Malefic, I think is his name, which I guess, I don't know if that's actually what his brother's name from the comics is, but if not, if they named him Malefic, like, oh, he's malicious, oh, maleficent, oh, it means bad, oh, we're so clever with our naming. If that's the comics that named him, then obviously it's not an issue with the show, but yeah, it pretty on the nose with the names there. But he goes in there, like, you killed my comrade, and then doesn't kill Alex for some reason. Maybe we'll find out why. I would love to know why. But she killed the White Martian that was his comrade, and in response, he knocked her out and pretended to be her. Who knows? If they don't have a reason, I'm just going to assume that he didn't kill her because she's a main character, and he can't kill main characters like that on Supergirl. What are you thinking? But yeah, so then Supergirl shows up, fights, which, again, I don't know exactly what the plan was here because you weren't very convincing as Kelly, and then you weren't very convincing as Alex. So this whole shape-shifting thing seems pretty pointless. But anyways, fight. In the midst of the fight, also a few dumb things, like Jean Johns knocks a truck away from a guy so he doesn't get smashed by it, and then the truck randomly blows up, and instead of, like, just going to stop his brother, he's like, you get my brother, I'll help out here. Help out with what? You already saved the guy, and all you had to do was just pull him away from the truck that was about to explode. And then that's it. What else is there to do? Jimmy shows up as Guardian, and he's like, come on, let's go, get out of here. Just like, okay, do they not know how to run away by themselves? Are these people too dumb to run away by themselves? Apparently, the stairwell was on fire from the one truck blowing up outside that wasn't anywhere near the building, and we didn't see any of that fire. So, again, put me out of my misery, somebody, because this is what I'm dealing with here. These kind of stupid inconveniences as to why Kara is the only one that can fight this fight. So then, after all of this stupidity, all of a sudden, Malefic up on the rooftop with Kelly and Alex, because, you know, like I said, the stairwell was somehow on fire, so of course they had to go to the roof to get away from the fire and somehow get off the building, because there were no ladders up there to get down off the building, and it didn't seem like there was a fire escape, so we'll deal with that in a second. But yeah, then he all of a sudden shifts into Kelly, and we have that stupid bullshit cliche, oh, which Kelly is the real one, in the same episode where Alex is dealing with not knowing her girlfriend well enough? How is she gonna resolve this? I don't know, maybe her girlfriend's like, hey, keep us both here until help arrives, while Malefic's like, shoot him, do it. Just like, yeah, I wonder which one's the real Kelly. Oh god, it was such a dumb, stupid, oh, there's no dilemma there. Kelly is a nice person, as we've clearly seen. Malefic is an evil bastard, like we've clearly seen. So I wonder which one is going to say, shoot the other one, and which one's going to say, hey, just keep us both here, don't let us both leave. Ugh. And then, she shoots him once, he goes, ow, shapeshifts back into himself. Alex is just like, I shot him once. I can do nothing else. I have to watch him push my girlfriend off the building. Damn. And then, of course, Supergirl saves her because she's the main character now, so she's invincible. Yeah. So then, after all of that is said and done, what do we get at the end of this episode? Alex and Kelly talking. She's like, when you made that selfless choice up on the roof. Selfless choice. Her choice to say, hey, keep us both here. Don't let him go. So selfless. Aside from the other choice, which was, I don't know, what was selfless about that? It was just a common sense thing to say for her. Keep us both here. Common sense. What was he selfish for saying shoot the other one? Is that why you're saying hers was selfless? Because she's like, I don't care about him. I don't care if he gets hurt or not. Or no. She is saying I do care if he gets hurt or not. So just keep us both here. Don't shoot either of us. Like, is that... It just doesn't make any sense. It's not really a selfless choice. Because there's not like she did anything in that... I don't know. It would have made more sense, and maybe this is what happened. Maybe they originally had something where it was like he was going to take Alex prisoner, and then she was like, no, take me, I can help you with your brain problems, or something like that. Like she planned to sacrifice herself, but then they thought, nah, that's too stupid. So they rewrote it, but they didn't change that line, and they filmed that scene first at the end whenever Alex was like, your selfless choice. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. So, yeah, that was all dumb. And then you also got Nia and Brainy dealing with their stuff, which apparently Nia is just getting overwhelmed by all of Brainy's loving acts and stuff. I'm just like, okay, this is not interesting at all because I don't really care about them as a couple. And then there's this stupid idiot guy that works with Kara that they're setting up for a couple because anytime two people argue and they're both beautiful to look at, which, I mean, I don't really know if the guy's beautiful to look at. I'm assuming so. He's also got a British accent, so I think typically the accents work on the women. So I'm sure at some point he's probably going to be having issues with his wife and probably leave her, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's open for Kara, and he's helping out at the homeless shelter, so he has a heart of gold, even though he's such a piece of shit at work. I will never understand why these CW shows love to put these couples together. It's like, oh, they constantly fight and bicker? Match made in heaven. You people really don't have actual love lives, do you? You're just like, oh, yes, they're going to fight and argue, but she's going to see through to the heart of who he really is, because that's what everyone wants to do, is find these asshole people and turn them into good people. So I need to move on to the third episode because I don't have a whole lot of time to record. I don't have a whole lot of memory on my tablet, so I think that's about it for this episode. Here we go. And now episode 3, Blurred Lines. So this one, the one interesting thing about it is this sort of Spider-Gwen type of person, and I gotta say, I hope Spider-Gwen looks cooler than that, just personally. Especially if it's Emma Stone, that would be fantastic. But no, overall, I mean, the design and the powers and stuff, it was all pretty interesting. Like this idea that these tattoos can come to life and essentially infect somebody. I mean, it was pretty cool to see it happen. The only problem is that, of course, when it comes to the guy at the beginning, the one that died, Spider enters his heart and he just done. And then, of course, later when Jimmy, because he's a main character, gets it, crawls into his head, and he's like, ah, God, help, I need help. And then Supergirl has time to take him to the DEO, and then they can extract the spider. Plenty of time for that. So, I don't know. Apparently, if you attack the heart, it kills you instantly. But if you attack the head, you can stay alive for a little while. No problem. So that was the only real downside to that. But, I mean, it is kind of interesting to see who this person is, and also the fact that some shadowy figure just like shows up and stabs this girl in the heart, or actually not in the heart, just in the chest, kills her instantly as well. So again, I don't understand why spider tattoo stuff in the head is not deadly, but stabs to the chest or one of the spiders going into the heart, done in a second. That's because Jimmy's the main character, that's why. But yeah, that was about the only thing that was interesting in this. Lena, I mean, nothing really happened. She just convinced Supergirl to go get some of Lex's stuff, so I'm much more interested to see where this path takes her, honestly, rather than this whole, like, ooh, I'm gonna use Supergirl to my advantage. Like, that doesn't interest me, but her whole quest, I do kind of like this story. You know, her trying to essentially make humans better people, because there is that moral quandary. It's like, if you have the chance to make somebody a better person, even if it comes at the cost of basically taking away who they are, do you do it? You know, and it's something that can be up for debate. It's something that can be talked about and discussed and all of that stuff. So I actually do like this storyline. But no, her just using Supergirl to get what she wants, that part doesn't interest me, and that's basically all that happened in this episode. Then we got Jean's brother. Well, actually, no. First, let me talk about the other small little side story. Nia and Brainy. Don't really understand why we're still focusing so much on their relationship, because, again, it's not that interesting. But yeah, in this one, she finally lets him know, hey, you're being too much, and he gets all like, this is who I am. Do you not like who I am? Oh, no. What am I going to do? And I'm just like, I don't care about either of these people. So why are you showing me this story? That's where, honestly, the relationship stuff in the show is typically where my migraines come from. I guess the one other little story to talk about, that's the thing, is like sometimes when I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this review, like I know the one big thing I want to talk about, but I do want to make sure I talk about all the other things. This, is it William? Pretty sure it's William. William Day, I think his name is. Apparently he's connected somehow to this Spider-Woman, maybe. I don't know. I still feel like they're, just from the last episode, it still feels like they're kind of setting him and Kara up to be together at some point, so I don't know what to expect from him, honestly. He still seems like a douchebag at the moment. Apparently he's taken bribes or something to keep quiet about these stories. You know, I guess he somehow knew the guy that died at the beginning of the episode. So I don't know. There's nothing really to go off of there, but maybe he'll turn out to be more interesting than he seems right now. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But no, let's talk about the Jean stuff now, because we do get some more information in this one. We find out, apparently, why his brother was erased from his memory. Finding out it has to do with him, finding out it has to do with his father being so disappointed in the fact that his son turned out this way and joined the White Martians, that essentially wiped his father's mind, so that way his father wouldn't want to kill himself because he felt like he failed his son. What's funny is, though, is that I've seen this story done better now. If I were watching this for the first time, I really do wonder what my thoughts would have been, because now that I've seen Encanto, which had a much better storytelling of the odd one out, you know, the one that didn't get the same powers that all the other people around him got, and then sort of got ostracized because of it. I feel like I've seen a better version of the story. And obviously Encanto, it's not like a like for like comparison, but you really look at it and it's pretty similar in some ways, you know, because for Mirabelle, she was essentially the odd one out of the family because she's the only one that didn't get powers, and her grandmother blamed her for, you know, everything going on with the house and all of this stuff. Here, you know, what's his name? Malefic? Malefic. Trying to remember his name. But Malefic didn't get the same ability as all the other kids. You know, he didn't have the connection to the hive mind or whatever it is they have. And of course, you know, because these shows on the CW don't understand kids at all. They're like, he didn't get powers. Poke, poke, push. You're stupid. You're weird. And so because of that, seeing like a weird kid he's basically shunned. And his father locks him in a room and says, don't worry, we'll pray for you and help you get out of this. So it is kind of similar in the way that they're treated by somebody who they respect and care for. Essentially, they're being treated like crap. The problem is we're in Encanto, it feels like it's much more natural and it feels much more like, okay, but there's a lot riding on this. Here, it just feels like their father's kind of a dick. Like, oh yes, your son is different. He doesn't have the same power, so let's lock him in his room? And I mean, obviously, he does come to that fact later. He's like, I failed my son, because he's the one that essentially pushed him down this path. But I'm just like, yeah, it does sort of make me go, like, this was a much better story in Encanto than it is here. This is kind of, I hate everybody involved. And as far as Jean Jean's decision, like I don't know. It's hard for me to really say if I like the decision or not because I'm trying to decide if it's realistic. Because obviously, the idea that you can just wipe somebody's memory of something that is causing them so much depression enough to want to die. I mean, if I had that power, maybe I could relate. Honestly, actually, I don't know if I could relate because I'd probably wipe the memory of this show from my mind. Little joke there for you at the end. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know exactly how to feel about this story, to be honest. And it's really hard to tell what the main story for this season is going to be. Because on the one hand, it seems like it's going to be this sort of shadowy organization that Eve was working with. Maybe they have something to do with this doctor's death and this woman with the spider tattoos and stuff. It seems like maybe they're connected there. But then you've also got Jean Jones's brother, who is, for some reason, trying to, I guess, get his power back, which he does at the end of this episode. And honestly, I nearly forgot about this, but I will talk about this now. This whole thing at the end where he essentially, Samwise Gamgee shows up to get his memory back, or his power back, because he has this inception power. Essentially, he can take control of other people. So he does that, and a couple weird things about this. First of all, it just sort of happens. Like, she connects to this thing to his brain, and is supposed to like project his memories onto the screen. And she does it for like a second, and then she realizes, oh wait, this is the shapeshifter, and then he just has his powers back. So he uses them on Kelly, nearly makes her kill herself with glass, which I will admit was sort of creepy, and only because it reminded me of like bloodbending from Avatar: Last Airbender. That creepy, like, she did a fantastic job, the actress playing Kelly, of making it look like something was controlling her body. Like, that was really creepy. But then Jean shows up, and he disappears, turns into this janitor, and then Kelly goes out, and she sees him glowing. And nobody else seems to see this. So are they implying that Kelly has powers? And then what's weird about that is, I assumed if she did, they would talk about it and be like, well, how could you see him? And then, oh, maybe she could be used to locate him or something like that. But one, she didn't see him glowing before when he was Samwise Gamgee, so that's not right. And then also, they send her away because it's too dangerous for her. Okay, so this power didn't mean anything. That moment where she saw him glowing didn't mean anything. And on top of that, can we just talk about, I just praised her acting when it was time to, it seemed like she was controlled, but whenever he disappeared after she saw him glowing, here's a recreation of what happened on set that day. He's gone! Cut. Are we out of film? Damn it. That was great. Fantastic delivery. That's a wrap, everyone. Let's go. Let's go home. We'll fix it in post. And they did not fix it in post. It was just, oh, that noise in your ears. You're just like, oh, that was so bad. So bad. But yeah, so just a lot of things that there are a couple interesting things here and there. Some things that have at least got my interest enough to where I'm going, okay, I'm on board for that. I don't mind watching to see what happens with that. Am I confident they're going to carry through all the way to the end? Not really. There is a part of me that's like, I feel nervous that they're going to muck it up somehow by the end of the season. But on the whole, it's just not good. It's better than Batwoman. I can at least give it that. So, at least it's not the worst CW show anymore. It was for a while. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But that's it for these 3 episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We could talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.